And this is absolutely vital. I do hope you've got some allspice in the kitchen.
Do this in remembrance of me.
So we let that sort of simmer away there. And a teaspoonful of thyme. Then you take a spoon and just roll the spoon round the inside there. And it comes out completely. Spinach is just to that point of wilting. God bless you. Next time. Bye.
King of nothing. But I did create a whole new way to write literature. I called it Bob's Spontaneous Prose. What is it? All right. The definition's in 3 parts. It's not Aristotelian linear logical like. It's more Spenglerian, Indian time, circular. I'll give you the 3 parts of the definition. It'll form a circle. I'll toss it out for you to land above your head like a halo, fall into the cauldron of your brain, and like the 3 witches in Macbeth, you'll mix it around, and you'll get your own definition out of the 3 parts of the definition about them, which we're ready to tell you, okay? Let's go. First part was Charlie Parker, Charlie Buddha Parker, first part of the definition. I was in a club in New York. There were 100 people in the room, all waiting for Charlie Parker to come in. Boom! The doors flew open. Charlie Parker was being escorted onto the stage. He had to be escorted because he was Negro. He couldn't walk around the neighborhood of the club in which he was playing. So when he got onto the stage, he had a lot of suffering in his heart. He started to look around the room, look into people's eyes, looking for something humble, something truly humble. All of a sudden, he saw me standing in the back. He smiled. He inhaled. And what he said to me musically, I'll have to tell you verbally, otherwise you wouldn't understand what he said to me. He inhaled, and the tune he started to speak to me with was called Jack Jumps In. Yeah. He looking at me in the eyes. And he started to blow the melody line to Jack Jumps In. Staring at me right in the eyes. And what he said to me musically was this: I like you. I can see your heart come out of your eyes. And I have a lot of suffering in my heart. And I gotta blow this suffering out of my horn hole into your eyes, into your heart. And then you can give it to somebody's heart through their eyes. And then there'll be no more suffering. He inhaled. And he started to blow these suffering notes all around the melody line of Jack Jumps In. The tune became unrecognizable. Parker started to blow these suffering notes, saying, I like you. I can see your heart. Let me blow some suffering out of my horn. Oh, yeah. He inhaled. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him. I noticed he started to sweat on his forehead. I noticed I was sweating on my forehead. We're sweating in the exact same part of the forehead. Our boopy, scoopy, doody bop, dop, bop, 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 de bop, 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 boop, bop, bop, drops, salty drops, was falling off of our forehead onto the floor in the exact same atonal rhythm of which he was blowing those suffering notes out of his horn hole. And that's called it, baby, that's called it. And if you know it, you know time, you know that everything's really fine. Blow, Charlie Parker, baby, blow. Blow, baby, blow. Blow, baby, blow. All of a sudden he inhaled. And he started to blow ignorant notes. He was getting to the root cause of suffering, and the root cause of suffering is ignorance. He's getting rid of the ignorance that exists in America. He's getting rid of the ignorance that exists in the world. He's getting rid of the ignorance that exists in the universe. He's getting rid of all kinds of ignorance. Blow, Charlie, blow, baby. Get rid of the ignorance. Take the bane off me, Charlie. Take the bane off me. Take the bane off everybody. Blow out the ignorance. Blow out the suffering. Blow, baby, blow. All of a sudden he inhaled. And he went right back to the melody line of Jack Jumps In. Woo! I walked out of that club and I said, why not write that way? Charlie Parker had a beginning and a middle and an end. But what he did in between was blow out his heart. He blew out ignorance. He blew out suffering. Hey, why not write that way? Jazz and blues came from America's heart. Why not, as an American writer, use an American art form to write literature? You got an idea? Do you have an idea? Every book has a beginning, middle, end. Our lives have a beginning, middle, end. We breathe, we live, we die. We're all going to die at the end. It's how we get there. And why not get there in a truthful way? As a writer, you take your idea, and you write, and you write, and you pound, and you go, and you drive until you get to the jewel center of what you're trying to say. Hey, if there's a comma in the way, you kick it out. You don't need it, baby. Semicolon, get out of my way. And that is the first part of the definition of Bob Spontaneous Prose. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Second part of the definition was Neil Cassidy. He played Dean Moriarty, and on the road, it was the way he fought. I was in the car with him. We were going from New York to San Francisco, approaching the Mississippi River. I said to him, hey, Neil, jazz and blues came from America's heart. Why not, as an American writer, use an American art form to write literature? And he said, second part of the definition of Bob Spontaneous Prose, Jack, I think it's a wonderful idea. Jack, it's a wonderful idea. I'll have to mulch it around in my brain, Jack, but I think it's a great idea. I don't know why anybody would think about it in the first place, Jack. You ever wondered that, huh, Jack? Look at that, Jack. We're approaching the Mississippi River. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn. You know, Jack, you can be Mark Twain or Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer, or I can be it. Doesn't matter. As long as you write it in the jazz structure, Jack. And I think it's a great idea. It's a wonderful idea. You know, Jack, I was thinking about Marcel Proust. Didn't he do that old T-head? Didn't he write these long paragraphs, Jack? I think he did. I don't know, Jack. But you know, Jack, I look at the Mississippi River and I say, Jack, hey, Jack, I look at this Mississippi River and I say, what was Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn doing? They were on the raft, huh? What are they doing on the raft? They were looking for the spirit of America on the raft. What are we doing, Jack? We're looking for the spirit of America on the car. Same thing. Why don't you write about that only in the jazz structure? What you talking about, Jack? I think it's a great idea. You got to do it right now because we're east of the Mississippi River, and everybody's born east of the Mississippi River is an intellectual. You were born in Lowell, Massachusetts. That makes you an ex-football player, intellectual. I was born in Denver. Makes me a cowboy. I have a different rhythm other than me. You see, Jack? I have a different kind of structure, a different kind of tone. And Jack, I was going to ask you about Moby Dick. I was going to ask you about that in an intellectual way, Jack. You got to follow that heart, Jack. Follow that heart in an intellectual way. I want to say, Jack, hey, Jack, this country here. I want to know, Jack, why indeed, Moby Dick. What is Moby Dick, the big white whale, huh, Jack? But I can't talk like this anymore because we're about ready to cross the Mississippi River, and all intellectualism ends once we cross the Mississippi River. Don't worry, Jack, I picked up again in California, and I don't know why intellectualism ends once we cross the Mississippi River. But, Jack, maybe it has to do with the images that are coming our way. I don't know. Oh, wow, Jack, we crossed the Mississippi River now, and I want to talk to you more about the intellectualism of what I'm talking about, but I can't right now because all I see are silos. Oh, dear, there's another silo. Hey, here we are in Iowa with another silo. You see what happens to the rhythm here, Jack? It all changes. It has to do with the images that come and imprint on our brain. That's what it is. I wonder what's in those silos, Jack, huh? You think there's corn in those silos? I don't think there's corn in those silos. I think there's sperm in those silos. You know why? Because everything's so erectional like in the Midwest, Jack. That's why they eat meat and potatoes. Wait till we get out west. You see those soft rolling mountains? They look like female breasts. Jack, that's it. People born in the West are in touch with the female part of themselves. People born in the Midwest are in touch with the male part of themselves. It's all yin and yang and yin. And maybe that's why there's no intellectualism west of the Mississippi River. I don't know. What do you think, huh, Jack? Hey, I'll ask you. Where would you put the comma? You don't. You leave it out. That's the second part of the definition of Bob Spontaneous Prose. The third part of the definition of Bob Spontaneous Prose forms the circle of the definition was Franz Klein. He was an abstract expressionistic painter friend of mine. He would squeeze paint out of a tube and capture his emotional state of mind. So if I went over to visit him, hey, Franz, I brought some whiskey. I thought, I'm getting out of here. You're in a horrible mood. I'd ask him, how can you do that? How can you squeeze paint out of a tube and capture your emotional state of mind? He said to me, Jack, you're an artist, man. And your artist always speaks the truth from your heart. When you create, make sure you create from your heart, from the bottom of the pureness of your soul. Because it's up to the artist to present to their culture a picture of who they are. And if you lie, the culture and the people will look at the culture as being an untruth. And the walls will come tumbling down, baby, like the Roman Empire. Speak the truth. As an artist, it's your responsibility to speak the truth. Open your heart and create the true beauty of your country and who you are. That is the third part of the definition of Bob's spontaneous prose.